AI definitely is unavoidable, and we need to jump on this track, even as a Muslim.
That's what this project's about. It's about not just sort of decentralized finance or just about, certain aspects of financial policy, which, they're all important, but it's also about the broader aspects of, like how we live as Muslims.
I believe it's time for there to be a platform for you to have a safe space, a space where you can say it as how it is. People will understand your lingos, people will understand the nuances and what it really means to be a Muslim. I saw one of the users' feedback, or one of the brothers sisters' feedback, is that it's really like a halal telegram.
Halal telegram, I love that. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another podcast on the HAQQ Network podcast series. We're joined by our sister today, Farah Abdullah. Salam Farah, are you okay?
Assalamualaikum Hassan, I'm good, thank you, alhamdulillah.
Very good, very good. Very exciting today. We've got a very exciting podcast all about communication, chat, and everything else that's going on. But before we get into sort of the nuts and bolts and the topics of this conversation, Farah, can you just give us a very brief introduction as to who you are, what you do, how it's going? Because I think a lot of our brothers and sisters don't really understand how important, how awesome you actually are. And I really want to share with everyone everything that's going on.
Okay, so hi Hassan. Thank you for having me here. So I'm Farah. I've been in the corporate world for the longest time. I think 18 years now. And for the past 5 years, I've actually been in the tech space, the Muslim tech space. So I don't know, Hassan, have you heard of Muslim Pro?
Yeah, absolutely. I have the app for my namaz, actually.
Perfect. So I'm actually the CEO for Muslim Pro, and I've been so for the past 4 years. So Muslim Pro is an app that is a global Muslim app, and we really advocate for the Muslim community. A space for them to actually interact, integrate faith with technology. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here to be talking about the same thing within this space. Yeah.
Super duper. I've got to say, Muslim Pro, as I understand it, is one of the foremost apps globally. I know all my family, all my friends, we all download it because I've got you got the Quran reader, which helps. Sometimes when I'm traveling, it just helps me read and sort of just calm myself. And it also helps with tracking your namaz times wherever you're going. So I think that's brilliant. I travel from the UK to sort of the Arabian Peninsula for holidays or whatever else, and it's very easy just to reset your stuff. So this isn't a soft chill for Muslim.
So alhamdulillah, I'm so happy that you're enjoying it, and so it's 170 million Muslims all over the place, all around the world. And I'm really happy to be on this journey, because for me, if I'm able to just affect, a few Muslims positively, help them a little bit with connecting them with their faith in their daily lives, then I'm really very grateful already. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I think it's brilliant that you say that, and that naturally leads us on to where we're going next, because that's what this project's about. It's about not just sort of decentralized finance or just about, certain aspects of financial policy, which, they're all important, but it's also about the broader aspects of, in terms of how we live as Muslims, trying to make it an easier way, trying to use the Web3 space to make our lives a little more fruitful, a little more sort of vibrant within this space. So moving on to that, Farah, there's this app that I understand that is coming from HAQQ Network. It has been deployed, but we're in the large development phase. And I really wanted to take your viewpoint on it as a titan within the sort of Islamic finance, Islamic sort of apps space. Have you heard of chat meme?
Well, actually, I have heard of it, and I love it, actually, to be very honest. I think it's time for us to have an app like that connects people, that creates a social space for Muslims all over the world. We're homogeneous, but not really, because we're very much influenced by the culture where we live in and everything, but yet we still have the same values. So I think it's about time someone came out with something that can connect Muslims globally, and I'm really very excited for it.
Absolutely. And like you said, that connectivity, I always wonder, what does connectivity mean to people? What does communication mean to people? I mean, for some people, it could be giving an instruction. It could be conveying one's feelings. It could be, distributing a message to the people. Communication, I think, is critical. It's how one person interacts with another person on a meaningful level. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I think at its heart, chat meme, we'll use the word meme, but, chat in itself, I think, like you say, it gives us this space where, as Muslims, we can go for free of reprisal and look at how we can communicate with them in a safe space. But I've got to say, there's other things on there as well, isn't there? Because I'm sure I've seen a halal food section. I've seen a Qibla pointer. I see all these functions on it. I think they're critical as a Muslim. For me, like, it's so much brilliant that I can just press one app. It doesn't matter where I am, and it'll tell me which way to pray my salah. So, I mean, what do you think about these sort of value-added features, as they're called, and how they sort of enhance the Chat offering?
No, I think, Chat is actually first and foremost a messenger app, right? But this is so important because we see a lot of apps out there that actually starts off as a communication app, because communication is, like you rightly pointed, is in everything. But actually what I'm also saying is that the beauty of it is that Chat actually has a lot of other functions, right? That actually can tie in the Islamic way of life that we all really, the modern, especially a modern Muslim, like you and me, we really crave for, because, we're in the busy world, very much entrenched into other social media platforms or communication methods, but yet we still want to be very much rooted into our faith, into our values. But how can we do that, on a daily basis, amidst all the hecticness of life, right? So I think what Chat is creating is really critical. It's really awesome also because not only does it facilitate communication between different Muslims, it also provides a very safe space, where Muslims can identify with each other, can express themselves, and they can actually connect with other Muslims, either to, learn, because you can connect with influencers or business owners who actually have a bigger preview of what's out there, Muslim products, Muslim services. So that's one, connecting you with other Muslims for you to learn, for you to practice Islam also, because, Islam is a way of life. It's not just you going to the mosque or you reading the Quran, right? It's in the way you dress. It's in the way you speak. It's in the way you educate your children, right? So with an app like Chat, I believe if you have all of these different components in one app, it can actually really simplify your practice of the faith in your daily life. And I think, it cannot come at a better time when Muslims are starting to feel a little bit segregated, because of all the things that's happening. I believe it's time for there to be a platform for you to have a safe space, moderated, but, a space where you can say it as how it is. People will understand your lingos, people will understand the nuances and what it really means to be a Muslim. And you can actually facilitate your Muslim way of life, whether it's in terms of Muslim products, Muslim services, Muslim finance, Muslim modest fashion, or even Muslim education, like following a Quran reciter or a religious teacher, how to do Umrah, for example. I think it's limitless what can be done. And I think it's about time, I really like to see in the Muslim ecosystem a Muslim super app come up. Something like, I don't know, for me, like, if one day, inshallah, my vision is that if I could be supporting someone, a brother or sister, to come up with a Muslim super app that encompass everything end to end of what it is like to lead a Muslim life in this modern world, then inshallah and alhamdulillah, I think there is a potential for this year with Chat.
Super duper. I think one of the things that very much comes across in this sort of Chat is this sort of concept of freedom of expression. The freedom to express myself as a Muslim. I believe in, whatever I believe in all the tenets of faith. And I'm able to go to this app without fear of reprisal or censorship and so on, providing obviously I don't do anything that's particularly spooky. And I'm allowed to express myself, my faith, my love for my faith in that sort of way. And this goes back to that sort of holistic concept of HAQQ Network isn't just about DeFi, it's about SocialFi. It's about, every aspect and creating that halal lifestyle and facilitating that via the Web3 space or blockchains. Another thing that I really love the way you explain that, because in my mind, I'm a very visual learner. So in my mind, I have things like when people speak, I see objects and items and stuff. And the way I explain, the way when you were talking, what I saw was there's a series of pools. One could be, halal food. One could be halal fashion. One could be halal, financial products, halal compliant borrowing, lending, or whatever it is. And then we have these little rivers that connect everything in between. And that's what Chat is. It's those little rivers that takes people from, okay, now I need some new clothes. Okay, I can go here. And, I'm hungry. So how do I go here? I just think like an average day. I'm based in the UK. If I go down to London, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where the halal food is. I literally take a packed lunch and it's brilliant. But when but with an app like this, I could quite easily on the same app. Okay, it's Zohar time. I need to pray namaz. Okay, that's the way Qibla is. Right, I'm going to pray. Oh, I'm actually hungry now before my next meeting. Let me press this button. Actually, I need to buy some new clothes because I'm running out of time. Press this button. Here's the halal fashion. Is this sort of one-stop shop? This sort of simple
Ecosystem.
solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, ecosystem, a whole holistic. And for the broader aspects, like, you've got Firoz of finance, you got Baraka 5 for your financial solutions, but it's the other side of life. Again, I just think it's such a good accompaniment to the network because it creates that holistic, broader atmosphere for where we're up to. Now, I think it's very important that we explore some of the core features around Chat. In particular, I'm talking about I believe at the moment, some of the functionality is private chats, groups, channels, and access to certain Islamic content. I'm just wondering, like, what do you think about the current offerings with the Chat? From my personal perspective, I think as a core product, it's actually really useful. I've used it myself; it's very effective. But what's your thoughts on the current offering?
I think the current offering, like any app, when it's beginning, there will be a beta version and there will be what is the core product offering, right? And I think as it is as a messaging app for Muslim community is really very strong. Why do I say so? Because Chat actually, the vision is that it is to connect all the Muslim in a safe social space where they can actually express themselves without being sanctioned, without, you've been there, right? When you're saying something that you're feeling very strongly about, it gets taken down and everything. So this will not happen in Chat, right? And at the same time, it's also very private what you're saying also because it is moderated, it is encrypted. And so that you're in a safe, private space for you to express yourself, without being subjected to all the Western kind of media and everything, right? But I think more so, for me, the beauty of it is the channels, right? And the groups that you can actually foster and you can create. Because, a Muslim, Hassan, you're in the UK, and I'm in Singapore. So we're sharing the same values, but we're really different because a Muslim from Singapore is very different from a Muslim in UK, in Africa, in Indonesia, they're very, very different because they're all very influenced by the culture, by where they're raised, by the community that they're in. So I think the beauty of this is that not only are you able to connect with your other Muslim friends, you're also able to connect with the global Muslims, the Muslims out there. And there's so much things you can learn from people from different communities, from markets, and it really opens up your eyes. And I think for me, the beauty of the channels, and I can't stress that enough, is that I really think once it really takes off, there will be Muslim influencers, there will be Muslim religious leaders, and it is a platform for you to have a huge amount of information about your religion, So I think, it will really help someone to integrate Islam in their way of life. I know an interesting feature that Chat has is official channels, right? So I really love the official channels personally because it gives me reminders and quick bites about the Islamic world, right? Whether it is the latest news, trending news, whether it's a little bit of a bite-sized information about the Prophet, or if today is the Prophet birthday, I will be reminded of it. Or if not, there are so many things, helpful du'as, helpful quotes to help me through the day. And I think in an era where people are also disconnected, I really believe that an app like Chat can actually help to connect the global Muslim in a safe space, which is not what I can say for other apps out there who is not really very specific to the Muslim audience. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? Bang on the money as always. I love this conversation because you're literally saying what I'm thinking. And it's brilliant.
Oh yeah, and did I mention the very cute and very nice stickers and reactions that you can actually So I'm having a lot of fun with it because with my friends, we all have some Muslim inside jokes or whatever, right? That only a Muslim will know. So I think what Chat has done beautifully is that they've actually come up with really very good Muslim or Islamic theme stickers and reactions that only a Muslim will know. And I'm really having a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's part of the journey though as well, isn't it? Let's not forget, like part of the journey is to have fun. It is to enjoy and have these moments of enjoyment. And whether that's a sticker or somebody shares a joke, as you say, certain Muslim, Islamic based jokes. And, our religion commands us to be serious. It does. And respect and have respect for one another. But it doesn't command us to not have fun. Everything within moderation. And I think it's brilliant. And that's a very critical point. Again, with Chat, you can have this sort of fun with your fellow brothers and sisters, wherever you are across the world, through the beauty of this sort of intercommunication protocol, which is absolutely fantastic.
And Hassan, I'm hearing that this is just the beginning because I think their vision is to be the social app for Muslims, right? So here I am envisioning the Instagrams, the WeChats, the of the Muslim world, and I'm really excited for this because I'm always looking out for things that reminds me of what it means to be a Muslim. How do I identify with being a Muslim? Whether it's a quote, whether it's a joke, or whether it's the dressing or makeup or whatever. So I'm really looking forward for this for this feature to come up because I think there are 2 billion Muslims out there. We are niche, but not really niche, And I really think it's very interesting if we can all connect Muslims all over the world to learn to practice the faith together and to be one community, global community that's very different but very similar at the same time. Yeah.
To support one another. I mean, I as I say, I live in the UK. I live in a suburb in northern England. I do not hear the adhan. Unless I go to the mosque, I don't hear it. And to a certain extent, it makes me sad. When I go to Turkey, when I go to the Arabian Peninsula, when I go to, Muslim countries, it's beautiful. You get woken up at Fajr time to the adhan. Beautiful. It energizes you. It gives you that spiritual passion that I need to get up and I need to pray my namaz. Whereas here, I have my alarm clock, which says, beat me 100 time, up you get. And yes, absolutely, you get up, you do wudu with cold water, brilliant, it's fantastic. But at the end of the day, there's something to that, having this global community, like brothers and sisters supporting brothers and sisters to become the best Muslims that we can be. You can get quite isolated in certain parts of the world. But having this solution, the central solution that can become your safe haven where you can come to and freely express yourself, I think that's something quite beautiful and something that's very exciting. Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. And I think something that's worth discussing is, Chat has been out there for a certain period of time now, whether that's in beta launch, whether that's in a soft launch. And I think we have various brothers and sisters who have used the app at the moment. Have you seen any feedback? Have you seen any sort of testimonials or any sort of thoughts? Or if not, what about yourself personally? What was your user experience, your user journey with Chat?
So maybe I could share with you. I think one of the feedback that really made me laugh out loud a lot is that I saw one of the users' feedback or one of the brothers sisters' feedback is that it's really like a halal telegraph. So I thought that was an awesome expression because, for our community, halal, I know literally halal has many definitions, right? But but it's really a very good way to actually to summarize what we're doing here, right? So I think for me, I love it. I like that, it gives me this sense of affiliation that, okay, there is a community just like me out there. And I think that's the beauty of it, I can go to any other messaging app and everything, but will I be sanctioned? Will I be comfortable to share certain things with regards to my views of what's happening in the Islamic world? Now, this is something that I won't, that I'm not too sure whether it will be, taken down. So for me, I really love the fact that I can actually really connect with the Muslims in a very safe space, and it's like my own place to connect with Muslims. And like I said, like the stickers and everything, it just gives me a way to identify and to express myself as a Muslim with people that know Muslims, that are Muslims, and that are by the makers who are Muslims also. So I really feel that it's very well thought of. And what I really like about the app is that it actually allows me, I don't know if you noticed, Hassan, but there is a news feature, right? So I really like it because last time I used to go to Al Jazeera to, to find out the news from the Islamic lens, because, it's a little bit different when it comes from, yeah. So I love the fact that they have actually come up with all the different Muslim news outlets, and place it in chat. So I think that that is really good, because in one place I can get all the things that's happening in the Muslim world. I can connect with the Muslim friends, and I'm really looking forward to the day when there is more and more products and businesses related to the Muslim world within chat, right? So these are some of the things that I really like about chat so far.
That absolutely brilliant. And something that you said, it really warms the embers of my heart to think that there is a place, there is this app, there is a solution coming for Muslims to be Muslims, because that's what we're talking about. Chat is going to allow brothers and sisters across the world who are Muslims, who want to be Muslims, who want to communicate with other Muslims, like-minded individuals, and it will give them that freedom, that zone, that space. And I think that's just critical for the Ummah broadly to have that space. And I don't think it's unfair. I think it's actually entirely fair. And I think it's very important that we go there. But just touching on that feedback that you mentioned, the Halal Telegram, I love that. Come on. Is there a bigger compliment to something that's in the Web3 space that says the Halal Telegram? Fantastic. And we're going to be better than the Halal Telegram, I think. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. But no, thank you very much for that, for the views. And like you said, stickers and all these things are very important. One thing I find myself doing exceedingly, I can't believe, when I was younger, I always said I was never going to do this, but it turns out as you get older, you change your mind. But, it's like gifts, the little images that you get. I communicate purely in gifts at the moment. Like if I'm finding a joke, I'll find a gift. I'm like, that's funny. But similarly with stickers, it has that funny aspect. And in itself, it's a form of communication with whoever you're speaking to, isn't it?
And it just fosters this sense of belonging, it fosters a sense of identity. And, I think it's about time that we have this space to express ourselves without being, I wouldn't say marginalized is a very strong word, but without being critiqued or without being seen from a very negative perspective or lens, right? So I think this is a place for us to really be ourselves, have a sense of belonging, exchange our views with people who really understand us. And it's really a big community. It's 2 billion Muslims. So I really feel that we're not like, in our own world and just a small community trying to, just have a sense of belonging within each other. But this is a huge community. There is businesses, Muslims are actually, people think that Muslim leads their life in a certain manner, but I really believe Muslim is just like anyone else, in the world. But it's just that we carry on what we do in the Muslim way, based on Muslim values, based on Muslim pillars. But that doesn't mean we don't go to eat in a restaurant, in a halal restaurant. That doesn't mean we don't go dating, or that doesn't mean we don't want to look good, So these are some of the things that I think community out there struggle to still understand, but within our community, we understand it perfectly. And I really would love to have a place where we can really celebrate all the Muslim special days, small wins, big wins, losses also. I would really love. And I also see this place, inshallah, I think if it's done well, this could be a place for us to do collective prayers together, collective du'as for the ummah. Sometimes they always say, I don't know about you, but whenever someone's going to Umrah or Hajj, I will always say, please dua for me, for certain things. So imagine if this place you can have like all the thousands or hundreds of thousands of Muslims to say, okay, please make dua for me when you're in Hajj and this. So it really brings this together. And if someone could be a bit more Islamic or a bit more closer to their religion because of this, then alhamdulillah, we did well, yeah.
Again, it's this other aspect of tapping into what this is. It's not necessarily simply just socialify or DeFi or whatever. It taps into spirituality and enhancing our spirituality as well. I mean, we live in a pluralist society where we accept that, people have their own views, and I respect everyone's entitlement to their own view, the way I have my own view. But, for me, ultimately, it's about practicing my faith because I believe in what my faith teaches me. And like you said, it is so beautiful, this concept. Like my friends, I probably know like 1 or 2 people a year who go to Saudi Arabia to do Hajj or Umrah, either my family or my friends or whatever else. And it's beautiful that in those moments I get to go to their house and say, brother, sister, please don't forget me, please can you pray for me? But like you said, how brilliant would it be if you had like this group like of 100,000 people or whatever it is, and you think about the numbers, likelihood is there could be a person going every month, and you could say, please, in this holiest of lands, please remember me in your thoughts because I have a certain thing going on in my life or whatever.
Mm.
It's beautiful.
And Hassan, when you're mentioning that, I wanted to also tap on that is the spiritual aspect, right? But Muslim as a economy, or it's really underserved, because I don't think that we have maximized our potential in terms of the Muslim economy. And I think such platforms like this or such apps like this, it can actually help to support Muslim ecosystems, whether it is a small home-based halal cupcake provider, at home, or it is someone who just set up like a Muslim insurance, or even just now you mentioned when you go to different countries, you want to be able to go to halal restaurants. Now, not all countries certifies halal in the same manner. And, even with that, you can actually make it very transparent, through the blockchain and everything. You can see, okay, is it really a very halal supplier, everything. So what I'm saying is that I believe if there is a platform for them to come together, we can support each other in terms of economies, in terms of ideas, in terms of strategies, in terms of even, just buying their products because we want to support the Muslim modest fashion industry or the Muslim financial industry, So these are some of the things that I really love about an app that actually brings Muslim together, and coming from Muslim Pro has always been defined as like a utility or like an education app. So it's really difficult to bring people to have that kind of fluidity in terms of exchanges of ideas and discussions and everything. But I think with app or with a messaging app, I think this is a great beginning for us to start to support each other and to be there for each other and uplift the whole community as a whole. Yeah.
I've got to say, I think you're reading my mind. Genuinely, I think you're reading my mind. The next thing I was about to go on to is exactly what we talked about. So thank you so much for leading into this topic quite smoothly. There's different ways to look at Chat. And, yes, we've talked about the spiritual aspect. We've spoke about the communicative aspect. But there is, as we say, this sort of financial aspect where we can connect supplier to user, consumer.
Exactly.
And this is what it is. And I just wanted to take your opinion on so we know that Chat is involved with the HAQQ network. We understand that HAQQ network is a halal layer one, is a layer one blockchain that focuses on Sharia compliant products and the halal level. Using a very specific example, I'm in the UK, ostensibly, meat in the UK is not halal. I have to go to specific vendors to provide me with halal. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, there's a concept of trust there because I don't see from the moment, the lamb, the sheep, the goat, whatever it is, the cow is born to the point that I eat it, cook it and I've eaten it rather. I don't know that process.
Yes.
But with blockchain technology, there's a possibility of harmonizing that across the blockchain and giving you that visibility. Now, how do you see that sort of interacting with a platform such as Chat in terms of how it connects individuals and creates that overall transparency?
Well, that's a really good question. Hassan, personally, I'm still a baby when it comes to blockchain and all of this, right? I'm still learning, but it's really fascinating what I've learned so far. My understanding blockchain is that it allows for complete transparency, which is very much aligned if you think about it with our Islamic values, right? To be transparent in trading, in everything that we do, right? So I'm really very excited to see this combination because people can have no doubt now that they can actually verify for themselves, in Islam, there is a saying, you have to tie your camel and then you leave it to Allah, right? So I think this is a little bit of the concept, right? Where you can actually verify for yourself, see the different suppliers online on the blockchain. And then after that, yes, you trust, you go, that you've made your sufficient due diligence and you go ahead. And I think halal is just one aspect of it. I really see, for me, even in Singapore, where we're not a Muslim majority country, but there are a lot of concepts around financial, Islamic finance that we still don't understand. So for example, in Islamic finance, you're not supposed to go with people who invest in the haram things, right? Right. For example, alcohol or casinos or whatever, right? So with blockchain, I believe that you can actually look properly into their numbers, into their financial, basically sheets, right? To see, okay, are they really investing in things that matters or that is halal? So I think we're just at the very surface of things, you know. I really cannot speak much after that because I really do not know much about it. But the thought and the idea of full transparency and the ability to check if you want to check, you know, I think it is really great. And I think it will really open up a lot more avenues for a Muslim also to be really closer to their deen, right? Because,
Yeah,
you know, we are what we eat. We are what we
yes,
say. We
absolutely.
are what we... So I think these are some of the things that I'm really looking forward to. Should one day the blockchain be integrated into MMChat?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you touch on something very, very important there. Again, you know, it's important to remember that in this journey of, you know, the Web3 space and, you know, distributed ledger technology, crypto, as it's the common parlance goes, we're really early. We haven't really scratched the surface of what we can actually
Yes.
do and how we can do it. And it's with innovative projects like Meme Chat or MM Chat rather, sorry. It's with innovative products like this that we will start to see this growth, this ability to communicate with people whilst using this service and integrating these services into the real space. As far as I'm aware, nobody within the cryptoverse at the moment is doing what HAQQ Network is to the scale that it's doing. As similarly, nobody in the cryptoverse or the crypto space is doing what MMChat is doing. And this is something that will continue to grow and I think continue to blossom together. I often say, you know, like in life, one thing that I've learned is it's very, very, very rare that one thing changes everything. It's normally a series of things that come together and they meld together, a series of decisions that you made over a period of 5-10 years, a series of things that happen in a different company or in a different business. In this case, a series of projects. Barakah, Firoz, you know, MM Chat, Fair Share, all these products coming together to create this halal lifestyle, this halal freedom, you know, this halal liberation, rather, sorry, this halal liberation. I think it's quite important for them all to come together. And I completely echo sentiments that you raised there about the awesome power of not just connecting people. See, I think it's not just about connecting, it's about empowering. For me, it's about empowering our fellow brothers and sisters and stimulating this conduct. So rather than, you know, I could go to a corner shop and buy a product. Nothing wrong with that. You know, I want some milk, for example. I could go to the corner shop. But there could be a shop closer that I wasn't aware of that's owned by a Muslim brother or sister. And I could just, by pressing a couple of buttons, be like, oh, I'll go over there. It's closer. It's more convenient for me. The prices may be better. I'm supporting my fellow brothers and sisters in the best way I can. And this is, to me, what Chat is in a nutshell. Empowerment of the Ummah, empowerment for our brothers and sisters. And I am 100% on board with this sort of concept and train. I love it. I absolutely love it. But I have to move to something that is very fancy. And it's current buzzword in sort
Okay.
of the world
Tell
we are.
me, hit me with it.
Hit you with it. AI. There we go.
Ah,
AI, artificial intelligence. Everyone's shouting AI. I'm going to be honest with you. Hotbot, I really like. I'm not gonna lie. I have seen so many screenshots, you know, within Telegram, this ISLN, Telegram chat one, Discord, where brothers and sisters are having quite robust conversation around HAQQ Network, around Usuluddin, around sort of these specifics of faith. I wonder what you think about sort of AI's involvement with a social sort of chat. Well, I wouldn't say chat. You know what? I think that's reductive. I do think that's reductive. Let's call it a lifestyle app, a lifestyle super app like Chat. How do you feel that AI can interact with this type of app?
well, I think that's, again, you know, AI. Okay, so whenever we think about AI, a lot of people straight away take 10 steps back, right? And then they have 1001 questions. Is it true? How is it trade? You know, and everything. But, you know, I think AI definitely is unavoidable and we need to jump on this track. Even as a Muslim, I find that AI has been really helpful, you know, in terms of learning and explaining things very, very simply, you know, because yes, it is a mega slew of information and everything. Now, the issue or the thing that I think we should think about is that it's not AI that is the problem. It is how do we verify it? Did we train it? So that should be the discussion points here, and not AI on its own. AI can be used in so many ways, whether it is extracting information, whether it's analyzing data, whether it is to help where different segments or which segments needs more help, what is needed, even to come up with a very simple poster for your business or products. I think AI could help make it very, very quickly, right? But I think in Islam especially, we need to be very sure that the chatbot or the AI is trained in a verified manner. And this is where I think Sharia compliant advisors, religious leaders that's vetted, thoroughly vetted. You train the AI via Quran, which is the ultimate truth, there is
Absolutely.
no other doubt about it, or the hadith that is really very widely known. And then you train it in the best way possible. And when you get the answers, you take it as it's the first point of information that you get. Now, after that, if you want to verify, you should do it, but take it as it's one step forward instead of you not even knowing or not even starting, right?
Yeah.
So for me, how I would say for people who are very skeptical of AI is that really understand how is the AI being trained, and like all AI, the more you ask questions, the more cleverer it will become. So give them some time to train your AI also. But thirdly, I would always say this: AI is not your final answer to everything. It is not the doctor, or it's not the professor, it's not the ustad or ustazah there, What you
Yeah.
need to do is take it as a first point of reference, and then after that, if you need more information, go do your own verifications. And I think that is the fastest way that you can make use or tap on all the advantages of AI without succumbing to it being, oh, okay, it will replace all this years of knowledge and everything, or different fatwa and everything. Well, it's really, like I said, it's the first point. And then the Islam community is so diverse. There is so many fatwas, so many beliefs, so many ways of teaching or training the AI. So like I said, take it that it's trained by the Quran, which is the ultimate source of truth. Now, how you interpret it or how the AI interpret it is also up to you, right? So this would be my thoughts on AI. But I personally love it. It has helped me a lot, and I think we cannot do without AI in the future. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, like you said, it's very much about a personal, like many things, it's very much like a personal journey, a personal experience. How are you going to use this tool? Because that's what it is. It's another tool. It's an AI tool that analysis, evaluation, whatever you're using it for. But that's you using it in a particular fashion, and it's for us. We all hold responsibility for our own actions, our own decisions, and the AI is helping you make those decisions. It is bringing things together in a holistic way, and as long as I agree with you, as long as you see it as a tool rather than as you say a source of truth, it is a tool. It is one way for you to begin your ultimate analysis to make a decision. I think it's it's very useful. I agree with you. I mean, I sometimes just for fun mess about with the ISLN bot on the Discord because it's just so funny. I really enjoyed talking to it, and everyone laughs because for some reason it has an interest in burritos. I don't understand it, but it does. But yeah, absolutely, yeah. And as a civilization, I think I agree with you. As a civilization, I think AI is going to be, it's the next frontier. It's something that we need to harness to make us grow forward. I'm going to segue slightly off the core topic of Chat, and I'm just going to say this, and I'll get back to it. If we ever want to go into space and see the stars, we will need AI. I just think we need the cryotherapy, and we need AI. And if we got,
Yes.
if we have that, I tell you what, let's just keep going and see what's out there. But anyway, coming back to it, because this isn't a space about science fiction. It's a space about a very serious endeavor, Chat. I think one of the things that we have, a key aspect, one that we've discussed at several points throughout this podcast so far, is this gathering of like-minded Muslims and creation of a community within this sort of app that will provide these services that they can use. It's a comfortable, simple use. But we have a lot of Muslims who are spread out across the world. Brothers and sisters, you're in Singapore, I'm in the UK. Our heart were the same. We believe in Shahada, we believe in, obviously, the Islamic principles, etc. But we are quite disparate in terms of where I am in the UK and the way I practice my faith, and presumably the way in Singapore is different, which will be different to somebody on the subcontinent, which will be different to someone on the Arabian Peninsula. There's all these. Does Chat have the power to bring us all together, to give us this method of communication? Because we are quite fractured. A group of 2 billion people across the world, I agree. Close to 25% of the global populace, I agree. But we are quite fractured. We don't have these efficient communication lines at the moment, do we?
Yes. So I think, like in everything, for even, I'm just going to go back to Muslim Pro also just for a minute, because Muslim Pro reaches out to 170 million worldwide, right? And and our avid users range from Muslim in France to Muslims in Africa, Nigeria, and Muslims in Indonesia. Now, like you said, it's totally fractured, right? So I'm a big advocate of saying that we are the place where it's like I don't know if platform is the right word, but it's a place to connect people, to get them to socialize, to exchange of information, products and services and everything. Now, it's up to you. It's up to the user to see, okay, which one do you resonate with the most? You need to still use your own due diligence, your own judgment to actually see, okay, is this the right way? Is this your way? Because it's very hard. The world's not black and white. And in Islam also, as we all know, there are so many different ways in which we can practice it. Our values remain the same, 5 pillars of Islam and everything, but the carrying out or the execution of it can be very different, right? And there are also different kinds of Muslims. There are some who are just learning, some who just converted, some who's really very religious, whereas some is still learning. And we are not a place for judgment. We are not a place for you to be judged or, okay, this is right, this is wrong, and everything. It's an exchange. It's a place for an exchange of information of the whole ecosystem. And then it's up to you to see how do you want to use it? Which channels do you want to follow? Which influencers do you want to follow? When there is a social element, who do you want to listen to for your live videos? Or who do you want to, what kind of quotes do you want to follow? It's the same, right? It's all ultimately, it all boils down to you. I believe apps like Chat is just a platform to bring everything together. And then, but because it's only for Muslims, it's already one filter down, And then after that, it's up to you again to check, okay, which one is it that you want to select for you, right? So yeah, this is a little bit of my take on it, because we can't please everyone. You can't be Muslim enough. For some Muslims, you can't be, there are so many ways in which you can do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. In many ways, it sounds like Chat is the glue bringing people together. It's the glue to bring us all together so we can discuss things. Just segueing slightly, because I know this podcast was about Chat, but I think that you raise a very important topic there that very much merits consideration and conversation. One of my dearest brothers, and he's been my friend for over 20 years. I love the guy to bits. He is one of my best friends. He is from a particular denomination of faith. I'm from a particular different denomination of faith. When we pray Salah, my actions are slightly different. Yes. His actions are slightly different. I am Hanfi, he is Shafi. That doesn't mean that he's wrong or I'm wrong. It's just a different way of praying within the accepted schools of thought. And I think this is important because it's very easy to get lost into thinking and siloed mentality, whereas my way of thinking is the only way of thinking because you're surrounded by the same environment. Whereas, you go to Umrah, you go to Hajj, you go to, the Peninsula, you go to places of faith, great places of faith, great beacons of faith, and you see that there's brothers and sisters of all creeds, all colors, all iterations, with their own method of prayer, which is accepted by their own scholars. And I think it's important, in the where we are right now. I think it's very important as a civilization of note that we accept that there are pluralist ways of doing things. There are different ways of doing things. my sister in Northern America might behave differently to my sister in, the subcontinent. My brother in South America might behave differently to my brother in, somewhere else in Asia. But that doesn't detract from their faith. It enhances their faith. And MM chat is a way for me to appreciate the beauty of their individuality.
And, to unify, to learn from each other, everything that is advocated in the Muslim religion. And, even in Islam, they're saying, Allah created us all. So, of course, He knows that there's so many variations and everything. But actually, it all boils down to your niyyah, right? It all boils down to who are we to judge, but Allah is to judge us. So, I really believe that having an app like Chat will help to show people, who have not traveled or who have traveled a lot and seen everything. This is the place for you to have your discussions, for you to make your evaluations, and then you know that okay, this is the beauty of Islam, and you celebrate it. Yeah.
Exactly, and you can celebrate that individuality, that uniqueness, and I think you can also open your eyes. Like, I had learned so much the older I've got. When you're young and your parents teach you that this is what we do. And when you're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you believe that's it. That is the world. My parents told me this. This is it. There's nothing else apart from this. You get to 15, 16, 17, 18, college, university, real life job, go traveling. And then you start seeing the world, the beauty and the magnificence of the great bounty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us. And you see there's so much more out there. I promise you, in the last year, I have started to realize how little I actually know about the world. And I'm just in awe. And it's just such and this is why they say, don't they? It doesn't matter how old you get, you never stop learning. There's always something for you to learn out there. And I think that's such an important lesson for us to take. And I think this chat has that ability for us to peer-to-peer crowdsource visions, sort of views and interpretations of our brothers and sisters in different parts. And I love talking to people, as I'm sure you can. You quite enjoy a good chat as well. It's absolutely fantastic, and I love it. But I think there's two things that I really want to cover before we move on to a closing remarks on this point. Moving back to chat, I think there's a critical aspect, and I think this is, broadly speaking, happens on any product. You have the underlying product, you prototype it, you build it, and you launch it. But then at some point during the process, there's a process of refinement based on user experience. So user says, I find this particularly cumbersome, or I would like it this way, or whatever. What do you think the process is with sort of chat, and how do you feel like chat could use user responses? And are you aware of any sort of user responses that have come that would help sort of refine that?
Well, I think, like every good product, it's all based on users' feedback, right? We need to be very reactive. We need to customize according to what users want. And for I believe that it's going to be like that. It's going to be very data driven. Even for us, even when they're doing their features, I'm sure they will do A/B testings and whatnot to make sure that which is the one that users really want. I think this is really very healthy, because all good products is all based on what users want, because users are our ultimate clients, right? I think at the very beginning, Chat has just now launched for about 3 weeks. So very preliminary kind of feedback has been given. I think users want more. I think that's a positive sign. We see that there's a lot of feedback about users. Oh, why can't I have more stickers? Why can't I do this? How do I do this? A lot of questions, but it is very apparent that users want us to develop it. Users want Chat to be developed to the level that they want, which is what we've been talking about for the past hour, is that it's all encompassing. It really supports the ecosystem of the Muslim world without judgment, without everything, right? So I really believe that there will be more user feedback, and then we can refine it, and then eventually we will still be going for the vision that we have always wanted, which is to be the super app for the Muslim world. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't necessarily think that those concepts are mutually exclusive.
Yes.
I think, in fact, they enhance one another, because it's like you say, an app is only so good as the people that use it. And if it could be the most fancy super app, like it could get me halal cooked meat to my door within 5 minutes, and I could press the
I
button.
wish.
I wish, yeah, absolutely. But if the user can't use it, it doesn't matter. It really
Yes.
does not matter. It's about having this sort of this method, this modality that people can actually use, and they find benefit from it. And and I love that. That's something that MMChat, from my perspective, is very much sort of incorporating into their way. And I know from the Hack Network side, Brother Andre, Alex, Muhammad, everybody else, the user experience, the user journey is critical at the heart of what's being built there. And big for that very reason, I think, just segueing again slightly, but there is a sort of battle, if you will, between Web3 and Web2. Web3, from my perspective, is superior technology. It offers transparency, commitment and directness. On the other hand, you've got Web2, which is what we've used for 50 years, and the user experience has been refined to almost perfection. It really has, because, we've been using it 50 years and these amendments have been made. Web3 is just the baby in this world of, like in the corporate world, in the real life world. We do have that battle, but I think, as you rightly say, the more we focus on this user experience, the more we focus on this user interaction, user interface, and the user journey, I think the greater it'll be. And from my perspective, again, I'll take you back to what you said about 10 minutes ago. Halal Telegram. I love it. Halal Telegram. That is amazing. I want to use that so much.
Yes.
On the last point that I really wanted to cover, and I think this is more about speaking to our brothers and sisters. It's more a message from yourself to our sort of brothers and sisters on how MMChat how MMChat could help us bind our faith, enhance our faith, enhance our communication and our interaction with brothers and sisters overall. I mean, what's your view overall on social messaging products overall, and in particular what MMChat can do? I mean, I know we've touched on it in different phases, but as a sort of overall remark, what would be your view on that?
I don't know if you've heard of the saying, but we are as good as the people that we surround ourselves with. And in today's modern world where there's so many different fragmentations of what are the different beliefs, the different religions, everything, right? I do see that more and more Muslims are starting to feel that, okay, how do I go back to being a Muslim, how do I be a Muslim yet still exist in this modern world? And I think for MMChat, it provides that space for you to connect with people who have the same values, regardless how they practice it, but they have the same values. They all believe in the oneness of Allah, right? So I think that take it as MMChat is an opportunity for us to surround ourselves with Muslims from all over the world, diverse, to connect with, even if you think that, okay, Muslims all around the world is too much of a far-fetched kind of view, right? But it's also a way for you to connect with your closest family members, your friends, and yet still get all the tools that you need, get all the information that you need all in one place for you to share, for you to learn, for you to educate yourself, for you to influence, for you to be better at being a Muslim, be better daughter, be better mother, be better wife, husband, whatnot, right? But in the Islamic manner. So my take on this is that if there is a platform that can actually harness this ecosystem, this source of information, source of resources for the Muslim world, MMChat, if MMChat could be this for the Muslims, then inshallah, I think that we will really prosper together as a community and become closer to being the Muslim that we all envision to be.
And I think coming towards the conclusion of this podcast, I think that is such a beautiful message to end on. With MMChat, you're not isolated. With MMChat, you're not going to be on your own. You will have access to brothers and sisters across the world. And in my experience, my brothers and sisters that I speak to, whether that's on Telegram, Discord, Twitter, in my daily life, whether, WhatsApp, whatever it is, we're a very accommodating and very friendly bunch. We love to talk to people. Yes. We love to help one another. We find our bonds of faith, brothers and sisters, as we all are, to be very important to us. Like, most of my friends, and, if you ask them to help, they would drop what they were doing to help you because they know that, we support one another because we are brothers and sisters overall. And I think that is such a beautiful message to end it on. But I couldn't let you go, Farah, without asking you for any concluding remarks. Is there anything that you want to say to your brothers and sisters who are listening to this podcast or will listen to this podcast in due course?
I think one thing I would say is in today's world, we would love to have a space that we can call our own, that we can identify and feel a sense of belonging with. And the brothers, and like you mentioned, brothers and sisters around the world, we're all ready to help in one way or the other in our bid to be closer and to be better Muslim. So take it as this is the platform for you to connect, for you to socialize, for you to learn, for you to become a better Muslim throughout this whole process. Yeah. And to support each
Absolutely.
other, empower each other.
Yeah,
So I couldn't stress enough this because I really think that we Muslims, there is so much untapped opportunities. Harness this experts, harness this level of education, technology, people who really knows and who really believe in the same cause. I think if we're able to harness it in one platform, whether it's for learning or entertainment or for business or anything else, or even to make a simple thing like dua for our brothers and sisters in the Palestine, for example, if we really are able to harness this, then it would really be like a evolution, really going to be like the app that brings Muslims together,
yeah,
inshallah.
absolutely. Absolutely fantastic. Farah, I'm not going to say anything else because that is a fantastic way to end it. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute privilege and an absolute pleasure to have you on this space. I have
Thank you
learned
for
so
having
much
me.
from you. I'm sure our brothers and sisters have learned so much for you. I really hope we can have you back on the podcast at some point in the future, inshallah. My brothers, my sisters, this has been the second episode of the HAQQ Network podcast. It has been a privilege to share this space with you and this time with you. I really hope that we all took something positive and something helpful and constructive away from this. Inshallah, we'll have more spaces. You will have to tune in next time to see who my next guest will be. But on that note, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.